Okay, come on, Flora. Come on, do it. And Flora's just like, all right. I don't like
The
to be hit with bugs, but
the music that Cherry is playing to help coordinate the allies is like a conga march music.
so yeah, she gets on all fours, crawls towards gets to the circle and turns into a fire ant, and then gets in front of one of the ants and just starts walking in the opposite direction, which the ant behind her follows her, and the ant behind that one follows that one, and the ant behind that one follows that one, and so on and so on. This is how ants actually work, by the way. I
Fascinating.
My word. They do have something to them.
and yeah, eventually this gives you like a opening where you can like squeeze through.
Okay. Yeah. Lydian takes that moment and darts out and tries to run to the cart. Okay, Dwight, I take it back. You do have some use.
Awesome. So how much was that worth?
You negotiate that before you do something.
Well,
This is a great conversation. You idiot, you should have price gouged me before saving my life, you moron.
well, if I had started negotiating the price with you, I thought you would have like spat in my face and found some other way to do it.
Or just died before you could collect payment.
We gotta work on your business acumen.
See, I like how this is how Lydian turns around on someone on, just getting frustrated at them being bad at business and wanting to make them better.
Yeah.
Though it's bad, because that means next time I'm in danger I won't get it for free. This is gonna backfire.
Yeah, this is the lesson Lydian has to learn about business.
Don't turn everyone into businessmen. That's just more competition.
I feel like I should point out codes number 3. Deeds must always receive reward.
Yeah. But you gotta start with that. And besides, he's not in the church. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Lydian reaches into his pocket and throws him 5 coin.
Haha!
Interesting, so your life is worth 5 coin. That's good to know.
His deed is worth 5 coin. My life is worth a lot more. He saved it for the moment. You think I'm covering my whole life in one go? You'd be priced out of life the moment you're born.
Alright, I guess I get Flora 3 of this, and I keep 2. Alright.
No. I'm giving her 10. She actually did the work.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Was he going to do that, or was it just, getting annoyed at this?
Yeah, that was getting annoyed. Do you realize
He knows what he's doing. It's good business acumen. He just played you.
No, do you fucking... Look at it this way. I just taught him something fucking stupid. Because in an actual system, the guy would... He would be the one who fucking ordered that. Basically, I just argued the worker should get more money than the boss.
Yeah. This is Lydian slowly turning Marxist.
Turning him into one to fuck with.
Cold Daddy's gonna find Lydian.
You just watch the fire ant line just sort of continue in a random pattern away from the cart, and for 30 minutes until she suddenly sprouts back into a human and she runs immediately towards you as the fire ant line marches off into the distance.
And then alright, and Lydian looks back at... Lydian looks to, he looks to Dwight. Alright, now, 5 coin or I get this horse moving.
Wait, what?
5 coin or I get this horse moving.
5 coin or you get this horse moving? Wait, you're asking me for 5 coin?
I'm asking you for 5 coin.
The 5 coin you just gave me?
Yep. Otherwise, crack the reins and Yurima starts moving.
Jeez. He just gives you the 5 coin.
Thank you. And yeah, Lydian waits.
And yeah, Flora is kind of like, alright. Well, guess all ants work the same.
That they do. Lydian throws her 10 coin for the save.
Oh. Well, thank you.
And yeah, he cracks the reins on Yurima.
Yes. Cherry, just sort of like turning her head towards Dwight. Don't take this the wrong way. I think you might need a bit more of a backbone.
Well, what are you talking about?
I mean, I think you're a little quick to agree to terms.
Coin
You
is
kind of
coin.
let people. Well, I suppose that's true. I just can't help but feel like, especially if you're, trying to argue for someone else, you could, like, it's like flirting. You have to withhold a little to, get them to engage more. You get more out of it.
It's like flirting.
If you seem too eager, that's just gonna, then people know they can take advantage of you. It lowers your perceived value. This is gonna turn into like pickup artistry bullshit.
Oh no.
We're just giving this guy all this
value.
terrible, conflicting, half inane advice.
Yeah.
A lot of it done intentionally out of frustration and not very good.
And see, he has the cool, like, shapeshifter criminal girlfriend. So really, like, who's winning here?
Yeah, but he's stuck being Dwight. Also, I no longer... In the transaction, I have forgotten how much coin I had to begin with. Because I subtracted, added... Fucking...
-5, +10.
Yeah, but I can't remember the
+5.
coin I
Or
started.
no, -5, -10.
But I can't remember the
+5.
coin I started with.
Right.
It was 190, wasn't it?
190.
No, I thought you said. Wait, was it?
Yeah, it was 190. That's what you
Okay.
said.
Okay, so I had 190 to start with. Then I gave him 5 to take me to 185. Then 175, but I took that back. And I
Still
gave her a
180.
10. So I should have 180 coin.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
the -5 +5
'Cause I
cancel
got-
out,
'cause
so
I
it's just
got
the
that-
-10.
I got my 5 coin back from him for being a fucking smart ass to me. With the whole... Alright, so what was that worth? Problem with playing a religious businessman. Actually, no, that's not a problem. It just means I get to be completely arbitrary.
You know, I haven't seen
I get to be
Lydian
businessman
pray.
arbitrary, and I get to be fucking religious arbitrary.
I haven't seen Lydian pray once this game.
He has communed, but
Yeah.
usually he does that in private.
He hasn't talked about the good word of the Lord.
He mentioned it once offhandedly to Cherry and then realized that was a mistake. Because
Yeah.
he has to be
not.
kind of...
He's not an evangelist.
His religion is a lot more insidiously spread.
Did he realize, oh no, it sounds so cringe, my religion.
No.
I don't even have a cool god.
Sweet. I mean, I'm just going to spoil a bit of what's going on here, but if you have direct access to a god who has, like, business hookups, you're not gonna come out right with that. You're gonna want to keep that god a little bit exclusive.
Oh, it seemed he's God. It's my God. I see.
More of a Puritan mindset.
Also, it's like... Everyone finds out, oh wait, this weirdo cult has a god that's gonna guide them to business decisions, and it's not a complete scam. That's gonna make business difficult, so... Basically, we need to spread before we kind of admit, hey, you're never gonna guess what we have access to here.
I don't think Cherry has like a specific god worships, but like, probably does like have various eclectic, little things. But I don't think she's particularly religiously active.
The thing about I don't know. I think the thing about a lot of people in this cult is they are technically religious, but for rather mundane ends, profane
Yeah.
ends. Let's say profane is the better word for that. Anyway, yeah. But I
Yeah.
do need to fucking remember to commune more. I always struggle to remember to do this fucking move when I have the moment to. Should have done it before we left town or like in the night or whatever.
Okay, so
Do we
I'm
use a
gonna say
dungeon ration or
you're gonna have to make camp here because Marion's nowhere in sight.
yeah.
You've wandered off the in a different direction than you should have.
There's not a direct path, yeah.
Yeah.
We got lost coming back the way we came.
The night's falling, and you're gonna have to make camp. And Dwight just says, "Trip to Marion shouldn't take more than a day."
No, it should not.
It certainly shouldn't.
It should not take
So,
more than a day, yet it appears that we are going to be taking more than a day. Trust me, kid, I'm just as annoyed as you are about this.
well, I guess we're making camp then.
That we are. Alright. Get the tents ready, set up a perimeter. We'll get some food on the go, and we'll work out watch order.
Very well. Nico finds a spot where, like, Nico
He finds the
instantly
most scientific spot nearby.
Well, he finds Nico finds two trees next to each other. Like,
And he makes a hammock.
oh yeah, no. Nico is like, I shall make my sleeping quarters. Actually, Nico goes a bit beyond just the hammock. Just spends this whole time making a little like tree room between these that Nico can sleep in quiet. Oh.
I mean,
Nico,
well, Cherry, that is part of her job, setting up a nice, campsite, and she's very willing to, listen, take, requests, learn what accommodations people want, and try and meet those specifications.
I think it's just typical stuff. We set up a few tents if we have them. I imagine we have tents at the very least.
Yeah.
Get a fire pit going and make a simple meal for everyone.
Yeah. So spend a dungeon ration?
Yeah, someone has to manage.
Cherry will do that. That's wisdom?
Alright. That's
right?
Wisdom. Yep. Okay.
Go standard.
Party consumes the expected amount of ration.
What type of story would people like tonight? Cherry takes requests.
Oh, should I do we use a monster feed as well?
Yeah, for the horse.
Okie dokie.
how many rations have we consumed? Just
One each.
Okay.
What kind of tales do you have?
All kinds. I have exciting, action and things like that. I have scary stories. I have, romance, if you want something more sentimental. I have ancient tales. I have more recent ones,
Hit us with something ancient. I'm curious to learn a little bit of my histories.
Ooh. Okay. Something ancient. So, Cherry tells, this is basically an ancient fairy tale. It's very, it's the story of, wait, I have some of this written down. Where was it? The Bride and the Magic Shell. This is a very, very old tale, but it has, most interesting thing about it probably is that it has a sort of framing device of a story from about 200 years ago about one of her ancestors going to this island where they record and keep a lot of stories and have been for, over 1,000 years. And one of the first stories they got. And just it has a whole little, story within a story structure going further back in time. And there you go. I have a whole list of, templates for Cherry's stories with just very rough descriptions of them and stuff like that. So, can pick one off the list each time.
Jerry, I actually have a question about your stories.
What's that?
Well, I mean, I guess the answer's obvious, but where'd you learn them? Obviously, they've all been handed down, but did you learn them all on the road? Or while traveling?
Most of them are handed down, but, some I find myself. I would say at least, definitely the majority of stories were handed down to me. Of ones I've picked up myself, I would say maybe 2/3 of them are ones that someone else told me on the road that I heard. And the other third are based on things that I encountered or had happened. Maybe it's more a 3-to-1 ratio. It's hard to say, but somewhere in the 2-to-1, 3-to-1. It's more common to pick up a story secondhand than experience one yourself, but the best stories do tend to be ones that you experience and witness.
You said you had a kid, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Have you handed the stories down to them?
Yeah, he's heard a lot of my stories. Certainly not all of them. I mean, nowhere close to all of them. But, whenever I'm back visiting, he loves to hear the stories. But, most kids do things like that. And there's a much smaller selection of stories that, you tell kids or things like that. But, I mean, he hasn't begun his formal training yet to follow in the footsteps, family line. If he ever does. And, well, if he does, if he inherits a family gift, the family curse, then I suppose that's when I'll go through all the stories with him. Otherwise...
Curse?
And she just kind of shrugs at that.
I suppose it is a curse in the strictest term, but it's odd that you would go with that word.
It's a little bit of both. There are a lot of gifts, a lot of advantages, but it makes it hard to have a normal life. We don't get much choice in how we live.
You don't have a choice. What happens to you if you don't do this?
Well, I mean, it's not just about being blind. We have itchy feet, I guess you could say. I tried to, when Kaoru was born, his dad wasn't someone, I mean, he's a very sweet man. I happened to be staying in town for about a month. My shamisen needed repairs, and we enjoyed our time together, but, it wasn't going to be anything more than that, and I hit the road. Well, after a little bit, I found out I was pregnant, and so, not knowing what else to do, I figured, he and I had gotten along, so I would let him know. And he always wanted a kid, but, he also had his music shop. He certainly was no traveler. He had almost never left home. Not one for the road, so to speak, and we weren't really sure what we were going to do. But, so for the time being, we decided that, I would stay there until delivered the baby at least, and then for a bit after that. And I almost went insane. I spent, 7 months there, 8 months, and it was torture. I couldn't think straight. Sometimes we would I started sleepwalking. We'd wake up in the morning, I'd be gone, and I'd have wandered a couple miles out of town in my sleep. You can't live like that. I was so mentally not there, and...
It can be difficult to be cooped up.
Well, it's not even about it being difficult. It's like my body won't allow me to be cooped up, and it meant even if it sort of made the decision for me. There was no way. Either, he wasn't going to abandon everything to join me on the road, so we had to go our separate ways. And, well, I mean, Kaoru was a bit different than, all the other kids in the family had been. We weren't sure what to think about that, and it kind of made the decision for us that he would stay with his dad there, and, I'd visit as much as I can, but now I'm on the road, and I didn't even really have the option to stay behind, to start a family, anything like that.
It's an interesting story by itself.
Well, it's not over yet. And, we still don't know. I mean, Kaoru's a boy, which that's never really happened before. There was my uncle, who about Ryoga, but he was unusual just for being a second child. Everyone else had been an only child, and he still had an older sister who inherited the gift and the curse, went blind, and all that. So now we have no idea if Kaoru is going to go blind or not, but he's getting close to that age where it would start happening, so that's the plan. If he starts to go blind, he'll formally begin his training, start traveling with me, learn how to navigate, learn the stories, all of that. And if he doesn't, then he'll stay at home and whatever he wants to do. Maybe he'll take over the music shop, maybe not. That's his own decision.
What do you want for him?
Cherries stays silent for a moment at that sort of, well, not staring at, but, kind of...
It's an awkward... Yeah.
Like she's looking off at nothing. Yeah, I don't know how to describe that without saying staring off at nothing. She sort of sighs. I don't know. I'm scared if he doesn't go blind. Definitely. I want him to, start traveling with me. I'd love to spend more time with him and
he doesn't have
get to know him in a way I haven't, but at the same time, I don't know. This is the longest anyone's in my family, all my ancestors had been with their kid for a long time by now, well, for the most part.
Not to state something you've definitely already considered, but if he doesn't have the curse, that doesn't mean that he can't travel with you regardless.
That's true. But still, it's... I don't know. It might be difficult. And, I don't know what he wants, ultimately. I mean, he's still young, and he could change his mind. Kids always could. I don't know what his stepmom will... I mean, she's a nice person. I always got the impression, though, she's not terribly excited about the idea of their kid, of Kaoru hitting the road and joining me in a year or two at that age.
It's a tricky time to be a traveler. Opportunity is plenty, and people want to hear good stories right now. Want to take their mind off the last few years, the wars and what have you, but also makes it a dangerous time.
Well, we've navigated through dangerous times before. Personally, I'm not too worried about that, but, I understand her hesitation. And like I said, she's a nice woman. I definitely get why Adam got with her. She's a good stepmom.
Oh god, I've got a direction I could take this conversation, but it's... No,
I'm excited.
It takes it. I just thought of it, and it takes this conversation, which is quite nice and sentimental, and immediately just Lydians it. So I guess I better, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. This is cruel, but I think it is Lydian. He kind of says, should the curse not come to pass, what are we going to do with those stories?
And Cherry, sort of sighs. It's something I've thought about a lot. What if I really am the end of the line, if, for hundreds of years, everyone in my family, it was always the same. One daughter who inherits the gift, who goes blind, and carries on the legacy. And then after, 12 generations, I somehow messed it up. And maybe this is it. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe Kaoru will, go on and inherit it and carry on. But, I mean, even if that is the case,
Should
I mean, he's a boy, that's definitely a change, and the line may die with him.
should
And that's, yeah, several hundred years of legacy. That's a lot to, feel responsible for ending.
it's not. I wouldn't say you should feel responsible. It's a freak of bad luck. But if the curse doesn't come through, we should think about continuity. We talked about
Continuity.
we talked about it back when we first met, and you had a pretty romantic ideal for why we shouldn't go ahead. But if it's going to be the end of the line anyway, how else will these stories be preserved? But in pen and ink.
Write them down.
Write them down, distribute. I can I can hire out scribes, I can hire out print and press. Make sure that even if it's the end of the line and he won't make his living beating his feet across the country telling these stories personally, make sure that, you know, we could work out a percentage deal. Money goes to him. He'll be sorted out by the book sales. We'll all be a little bit.
Maybe. And, she's sort of like strumming the occasional note. I mean, I certainly
I
have
actually
been
feel like
sending
genuinely
plenty
more
of
of a
money.
dick doing this than suing that fucking party that
Oh,
ruined the
no.
mine.
Yeah. Cherry, she's like storming a note, sort of like listening to the crackled fire and the notes ringing out. I mean, I have been sending back most of the money I make to them already. And then, she sort of sighs, strumming a few more notes almost absent-mindedly on the shamisen. Is that what you would want, Mom? Is that what you'd do?
Did you want this laugh?
And Sherry sort of shrugs at that. I don't know. It's something I don't think about much, or try not to, at least.
So you didn't then. Otherwise, wouldn't be a concern to think about it.
I guess I wouldn't say I wanted it, but I wouldn't say I didn't want it either. There's certainly nothing else I can think about that I would have wanted.
I suppose with a curse, you don't really have much of a choice in the matter of what you want.
Well, I would have. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Kaori more than anything, but I just wish I didn't have to feel like I was letting my mom down or letting my, the other, all of my ancestors down or anything like that, where I wasn't, It's just the feeling, I wish I didn't have this feeling of responsibility to the whole thing. The life itself I love. I love the road. I love hearing the stories. I love telling them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a happy life and I don't think I would trade it for anything. It's just, and she shrugs, a lot of pressure, I guess, to feel like you're not living up to.
I suppose. But think about my offer. Does even if the story might end with you, people reading it don't have to.
I mean, it's not like I'm opposed to ever writing it down. I mean, actually, the story she just told with the stories, the chroniclers of Isla Sonera,
Yeah.
Cherry, oh, I guess I can do this in character. I mean, I've still been there, half a dozen times maybe in my life. Once every few years, stop by and still have my new stories written down there, as with my ancestors before me. But that's not, they're not selling them or anything. But they are being written down and preserved somewhere, at least. It's not like I'm opposed to the action of that.
I bought a copy of a book about your ancestors. They are being, in a sense, so.
Oh yeah.
That does did the money I spend there? Does that go to you? Me buying that book in any way?
Oh, I doubt it.
Because
I
yeah, it's
mean,
just a
I
copy
suppose
of
there are
that.
some people who would have paid for the rights, which at this point, well, they'd go to my mom. More point. I mean, she's still out there, so she gets any rights that were actually sold by Aki or her brother would get inherited down to her. She's the last survivor of that party who was in it for more than, a couple of months. Well, assuming.
Hmm. Perhaps anthology then. Collection of the stories that maybe not. A few that have been published, a few big hitters to get the people in, and then a few more stuff that hasn't. Yeah, Lydian has just gone off into business mode at this point.
Yeah.
Point of it is, if it's looking dicey, then we'll talk about it later. For now, opportunity awaits in Marion, wherever the hell that is.
Wherever indeed.
Meanwhile, Nico has just made some sort of weird self-rotating hammock.
Exactly, like it even has a little elevator.
I know self-rotating is probably like horizontally
No, I was
like.
I was picturing like centrifugal force which keeps him in, but it rotates like a fucking spinner.
You have to be going
Oh,
really
that's
fast.
fun.
Nico has this weird theory where if you are in a hammock that's spinning, you can effectively get like 8 hours of sleep in 30 minutes.
That's a good idea. I agree with that.
Time dilation.
Cherry, just as one minor thing at the end of the conversation, Cherry does say, well, I suppose, Krana might still be alive out there. She just kind of disappeared. But, I've always wondered, because she doesn't really, from what I understand, she never really aged. And I know my mom said every so often she's felt like, just seen an animal or something, or felt something of a familiar presence. And I've always wondered if she's not still out there just, going from animal to animal, and I haven't. Who knows? Maybe she's checked me out a couple of times. It's not like I would, have a familiar sense of her or anything the way Mom does. Then again, animals die all the time. For all we know, she got eaten by a predator or something decades ago. We'll probably never know.
We'll probably never know, Lydian says, looking at Flora.
Yeah, true. Flora, that's, probably. I don't think I mentioned, like Prana the shapeshifter or anything like that. But actually, no. This is Cherry will push that a bit. Actually, speaking of, have you ever considered if you, were able to shapeshift for longer and longer, maybe just like leaving it behind, living as an animal? Do you have any animals you'd, like, which animal in your opinion has a pretty good, like, you could see living as them full time?
Is that a question for Flora?
Yeah, Flora.
Wow. He thinks about it and just thinks, oh,
Back in a sec.
well, I guess sloths have it pretty good.
That's an interesting answer. Do you have any one animal you feel a particular affinity for, more so than any other?
Um, well, I've turned into a sparrow, probably the most out of any.
I like birds.
What was her answer? What animal?
Oh, that you would want to be a sloth.
Ah.
But I also asked her what animal she felt like closest to, like most comfortable or natural for her to be. What, like, her main animal is. That
Human?
body's.
She said sparrow.
Mm.
Yeah. What is Lydian's animal? If he was an animal, what would he be? What is Lydian's persona?
Vulture.
Oh, I could only picture him as a walrus. Vulture is good though.
Walrus is probably correct. Vulture
Yeah.
is what he likes to think. Maybe no,
No.
he'd probably go with hawk, but vulture is truer than that.
I still like walrus for him. What about Nico? What's Nico's animal?
A very smart animal.
There are lots of those.
So what, like a dolphin?
How
No.
I could see you as a crow.
Maybe. Yeah. A crow like me does hover. Or they don't hover, they fly, but
Well, they hover in a headwind.
I think he's kind of more like a seagull.
What?
Maybe seagulls are more ominous, though.
You saying this man ain't ominous? He throws someone to a gate.
Nico too. Nico isn't as subtle as a seagull could be.
What do you mean, son?
Subtle as a seagull.
I mean, seagulls can be very loud and blaring, but, so can a crow. But seagulls, they have that, there's something in their eyes that, they have that menacing aura.
Ooh.
Okay, so what's our watch order for making him?
Cherry will take third watch if no one else wants it.
I think Lydian will take first.
Nico takes second then.
Alrighty.
For the record, Cherry's animal is a red panda.
Nice. Lydian, roll a 2d6.
Oh boy. Yep. Bloody headphone cable fell into my keyboard.
8. Okay. We're gonna say, so I choose one from this list. I'm gonna say one party member of my choice suffers a restless night, and it's gonna be Nico. Even all the effort you put into that freaking room is backfired.
You should have just let Cherry make you a comfy bed.
Yeah.
You have a restless night, you just can't get to sleep.
I think it would be funnier if it worked. Nico did sleep quite well, but everyone else had a restless night because the loud ass, whirring and creaking of the machine kept everyone else awake.
Yeah, no, that's. I don't know. Nico gets undertuned it or something.
I imagine that Lydian would be not necessarily a loud snorer like Big Logs, but he definitely has an audible snoring,
I can see that. Later in life, he'd definitely be on a fucking CPAP if those existed.
I like to imagine him, those long, pointed sleeping caps with the pom-pom on the end? I'm picturing him with one of those.
I don't know why I'm now just imagining the granddad from Stardew Valley in the opening, but not dying.
I don't know what you're talking about, but so just the granddad in the opening to Stardew Valley. Okay, cool, I can picture that cute little grandpa, but not dying. What the fuck? That threw me. I didn't know that someone fucking dies in the Stardew Valley opening.
That you inherit the farm from him or something, right?
Wow.
I'll just link an image of the granddad, because this is, I feel like, what it's leading to. Look at that fucking bed.
But that's so thin. That's a fucking cot.
Okay, so the morning comes, and you have to figure out which way to go to get to Mary.
Alright, hang on. I've just got to link another image because this bed caused so many fucking jokes that people made like a mods for it, and there is a mod alignment chart for the beds.
Oh, good. I'm excited. Grandpa's bed. Better introduction.
We're dying.
I just love worse dying grandpa. Just make the scene even more tragic.
Wait, wait.
The grandpa is. Oh, his bed is envelope.
Playing ping pong on Grandpa's bed.
Alright, so we need to figure out how to get to Marion, you said, Neo.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any orienteering skills? Can I use my adventuring gear to produce a compass?
Well, I don't think a compass, because, like, we can tell from the sun.
Oh
which
yeah,
way is,
that's
like,
the point
where
actually.
it's-
Knowing
the
our
point is
cardinal
more-
directions is useless if we don't know where we are to begin
Yeah.
with. Nico, could you just fly straight upwards and... Ah, Marion, over there.
We need to look at the stars, triangulate our position. Can... Oh, Flora, can you, like, talk to birds and stuff like that?
Sometimes it depends on the animal.
Well, birds, for instance, like sparrows, could you talk to them generally?
With birds, it's hit or miss.
What kind of birds are there in the Bronze Plains to begin with, let alone talking to any of them?
We used to have. Well, actually, I guess that's a no we used to have. Murray could talk to some animals. Bella could talk to any wild animal. And then Felina could talk to the snakes. I guess Ariana could talk to some spiders. Well, no, she could talk to the snakes too. No one in this party, though, except Flora's our best bet.
Loris, I suppose I could talk to a sparrow. I've spent
Yeah.
enough time with one that I...
Just, there are birds around here, and if any animal around here is going to know the wider area, I mean, birds have a good view, they travel far. One of them might be able to tell us where Marion is relative to us, what direction.
Well, they could tell us where I could ask where giant walls in a city are.
Yeah.
I can't get where Marion is. It wouldn't know what Marion is.
No, right, but, where the nearest city is, because, I mean, it hasn't been long enough for us to get closer to Osprey or Tensis than to Marion. I mean, unless we just were traveling due south from Morricone and are close to, somewhere down there.
At least, even
Which
then,
I
at least
can't
we'd know
imagine
where
we
the
did.
hell we are.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Thank you.
She sucks in her breath and turns into a sparrow and flies up to go find a flock.
And, Cherry turns her head to Lydian. See, aren't you glad they tagged along?
I'm not unhappy. I'm just...
This is how November's gonna be introduced with her fucking falcon. Like, Flora will be flying around as a sparrow, and then Aquilo, the falcon, just comes down, eats Flora, unknowingly.
I'm just curious what you're getting out of it.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Like I said, they gave me a lead to a good story. Well, hopefully a good one. I suppose I haven't given you all the details there.
Suppose not. Is it something I ought to know?
you might be curious about it. Our currently feathered friend, she was in the form of a mole for a spell, and, digging around, exploring, just seeing what she saw, digging under Marion, when she happened across some underground chambers that hadn't been known. And in them, this was under a casino, the Vertex. There were people moving around something, some sort of boxes, crates, and they were moving, bumping, being jostled. Definitely wasn't just coin in these boxes. And she still doesn't know what they were, but there had been rumors of slaves in Marion recently, but, that were mostly considered to be false, but it certainly crossed her mind, as it might be related to what's in there. Well, as she was saying this, she ran out of time, turned back into a person, and, they tried to catch her. Running away, she managed to turn into a bird, flew through the facility, and, never saw anything for more than just a brief blur as she was flying by, but definitely a lot of weird stuff going on. Hid under a staircase, for a while as she turned to human, until she could turn into a bug, exited the underground chamber having found the way out, and then walked out of the casino. But definitely something weird going on there, that definitely something worth, finding more about.
Lydian,
And I'd like
Lydian's
to...
face, obviously you can't tell, but Lydian's face does kind of scrunch up during a lot of that. Well, you guys can have fun with that. Just don't get in too much danger.
I'm good at having a subtle touch.
Okay, actually, no, sorry. I'm not going to involve myself with investigating potentially crooked casino's potential slave situation, but what exactly is the good outcome on investigating this?
Where is the
I'm
money?
not necessarily interested, I'm not trying to push for any particular outcome. I just want to know more. Some high drama is happening, and I'm not looking to get involved in the story personally, but if I can nudge the story to getting,
all right, no, never mind that, Miss Journalistic Integrity. What is the good outcome of prying into that situation? I don't know, not looking for a good one, but just let's step outside of whether or not you want one and tell me what is the good one.
whatever's going on gets revealed, and then, I and, the world get a good story about it, and things are brought to a more interesting and known conclusion.
All right, fine. I'm not gonna stop you from investigating that. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna keep a fair distance, if you don't mind, from the slave investigation.
Oh, we don't know it's slavery. It might be something, who knows? Maybe it's popcorn makers. But it's definitely something secret. And like you said, she saw a lot of weird stuff while she was down there. And I mean, this is whatever it is, it's definitely a lot of money's tied up with it and something they don't want people knowing about. There could be a lot of profit in exposing it.
I know you're trying to talk my language right now, but there's also risk.
Well, that's the point. Isn't that a big, element of business? Distancing yourself, setting things up so someone else gets the risk and you get the profit?
We'll see. This just sounds different from Marconi Springs. I don't like the sound of it. That's more my kind of risk.
What, getting attacked and swallowed by giant worms?
No, the business risk. The worms I did not like one bit.
I was gonna say, if anything, this sounds a bit more, well, certainly more my speed, but I would figure more your speed than the worms.
If it's slavery, then that's something criminal and probably tied up something too dark. So dark that even I don't want to touch it. I want to make my money above board. Maybe if it causes the casino... Get me involved the moment. If it turns out to be slaves and the place gets condemned or whatever and the property value drops, then have a word with me. Then we'll talk.
Do you have any interest in owning a casino?
They're a good money spinner.
I love gambling.
I like winning.
Huh, me too. That's why cheating's fun.
Science.
So true.
Ryan.
Science?
Have you ever tried counting cards, Nico? That's all, math.
Wait, what do you mean counting cards? I count cards?
What do you mean counting cards? There's 52 in a deck. That's all.
Yeah, it's always 52. Anything else is
Amateur
just
can't count to 52. Honestly. No, it's for Cherry's gonna explain. Yeah, no, it's for blackjack. See, it's far too complicated for most people. But if you're really smart, you can figure out the probability. See, most gambling games that you play in a casino, mathematically, odds are you're going to lose money. That's how casinos stay in business. Sure, some people make money, but the majority of the time, they give up their money. And it's even worse because if they do make a lot of money and win, then they feel good and they're more likely to keep playing. But players have to stop playing if they've gone completely broke, so people are more likely to play until they've given all their money away. But blackjack's different because if you're smart and use your brain enough, you can figure out the probability and you can win more than you lose, and you can make a lot of money doing that. But it takes a lot of brain power.
Oh, that sounds easy.
You
Oh.
realize, Cherry, he's now gonna try and invent a machine that does that.
Yes, I could make a machine that could do that easily.
Well, then the trick with the machine is it just has to be small enough, easily concealable. I mean, that's the trick with anything. Like when I was involved in the big cheating scandal, we had slightly modified dice. They didn't look any different, but the even sides and odd sides made slightly different sounds when they landed on the table. So that way I could hear. We were playing Shohan, so you have to guess if their combination is even or odd. And we set it up so I could hear if they were both even or both odd, or if they were different. And so I would know if they were even or odd, and just based on that little sound, give a signal. But the trick of it is just being subtle. It has to be something that the person I was working with knew what to look for, but no one else would notice. And so that's going to be the trick with any machine you have. If the casino can, get suspicious about how much you're winning and they search you and find this machine, well, I mean, I don't know what the laws are here. Back there, you probably would have had your hands chopped off or worse. But that's got to be your goal. It's not just inventing a machine that can do the calculations. At that point, someone could just have a book telling them all the odds. It has to be something discreet and something you can deny. That being said, if you can come up with something good, you can make a lot of money selling that. Ooh, just imagine a whole new wave of people suddenly experts at counting cards hitting all the casinos. That would be. I mean, wherever lots of casinos are, there's almost always some sort of crime organization going on. Things would get real exciting. Nico, I think you should do this.
That certainly was a lot. I'll take it into consideration.
Well, we got work to do once we get to Marion. The first thing we're gonna get cracking on selling these electro boxes.
Electro
Alright.
safety box.
Shock box.
Electro safety box.
How about this? We'll make a range, and one of them we'll call the electro safety box, and we'll market that to a different demographic.
But they're the same thing.
Well, the price will be different.
Then surely people should just take the cheaper one.
Yeah, but the electro safety box will be safer.
But they're the
Nico,
same
a
thing.
hooker and an escort are the same thing, but people will pay a lot more money for an escort.
What? The boxes are the same thing.
Yeah, but Nico, what you have to understand, most people are very stupid and very silly, and it's very easy to trick them. And they don't always make rational choices or the choices that are best for them. So, sometimes, like, if you're clever, you can make those choices for them and help them out in the long run.
So,
I see.
Sparrow lands on your shoulder, Cherry,
Okay.
and
Hello
starts
there.
and says, "There's a city east of here.
Ooh, I was wondering if you could talk as an animal. Assuming this is you, Flora, and
Yeah,
not just some other. Well, I suppose to the east we'll go. And yeah, starts heading in that direction.
Yep.
You know,
off we
Flora,
go.
I was wondering something.
hmm,
So when you're, say, a sparrow like this, could you eat seeds or a worm or something like that? Would that taste good to you right now?
Yes, I would like
yeah,
to also know this.
a
Hmm. I
yeah."
So
see.
then, if you do eat your fill now, like eat some seeds or eat, a good worm or something now, and then when you turn back to human, would you suddenly be hungry again because you only ate a little bit, or would you still feel full?
I feel sated, but I don't like to do that. I always feel weird about it after turning back.
So wait, if you ate a really big meal and then you turn into something small, would you like be really bloated?
I don't know. I've
So you
not
you
really had the
always
opportunity.
turn into something like a worm on an empty stomach.
Fascinating. Nico
I
is
don't
just writing
have
this
the
down.
opportunity. Big meals.
You cut out during that.
I don't generally have the opportunity to eat big meals.
Hmm.
I'm back. Hello?
Hello.
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 Oh,
I asked if conversely, if she ate like a big meal and then turned into a worm, would it
yeah.
have repercussions? And
I don't.
I got
Um,
I got my answer was brushed off. My question was brushed off with I don't get to eat big meals.
so when you were like in the box, the coin box as a worm, if you had turned back into a human then, like, would you have been crushed or something, or would the box have broken? I guess that might just depend on the structural integrity of what you're inside.
Yeah, it depends on that. But for that box, I would have broken it.
Interesting.
I would not recommend it with my new box.
Yeah, I figured. She flies back over to Dwight's shoulder.
Aw.
And Dwight just goes, "Yep, well, we could probably get a big meal when we get back now with all the coin that we have."
Don't spend it all at once.
Yeah, but when's the next time they're gonna have so much coin at once? They may never get another chance to have a 70 coin meal or 60 coin meal or however much.
Hmm.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
how
if
much?
all,
I'm sorry, how much coin?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how much they have on them right now. I was just estimating.
yes, if only someone would invent something that created more coins. Hmm.
And then coin duplicator. And Cherry, more close to Lydian, tugs on her ear a bit. Coin makes a pretty loud noise when it jangles in someone's coin purse or pocket, whatever. So I can usually get a pretty good sense for how much someone has on them, depending on how they have it packaged, of course.
Yeah, when Flora turns back into a human, she just pats where she keeps her coins. It says, "I don't know where this goes when I turn into an animal. I don't know where my clothes goes either."
Maybe it becomes your feathers or something. Like
Yeah.
if you got, that's another question. Like if someone plucked your feathers as a sparrow and then you turn back into a person, what would happen to you then?
Ugh.
I don't know. That's an experiment I want to do.
Yeah.
If she was cut in half as a worm, would she come back as two half-sized versions of her? I know worms actually don't become two worms,
Yeah.
but I know that, but I find it amusing a thought.
So let's see. If you're going east, you know the direction. You don't have to roll navigate, and it's a short distance. I'm gonna say, so you don't have to roll scout ahead. This is business free.
Cool.
Eventually, you find yourselves at the gates of Marion. Where opportunity awaits. Should we pick this up next time?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's weird that session went on. I think we just talked a lot of fucking tangents.
Yeah, we
Hang
did.
on, I gotta write down for fucking next session. Next sesh. Take Nico to the patent office.
Yeah.
Get box sorted and set up. Yeah. Next session, I have got business to fucking do. I'm gonna force Nico into the world of business next session.
Wonderful. So, any bonds update?
Let's see. I think I might have. Wait.
I do have stuff.
Interesting.
Interesting.
One of my bonds is written differently on my character sheet versus my bonds list. Like the ending is different and fundamentally changes it between the two versions. Once it's I'm glad to be useful, or Lydian has seemed to find use for me in his business deals. I'm glad to be useful like my ancestors before me. But on my saved sheet it says I wish I enjoyed it as much as Lydian seems to. But on the character page, it says, I just wished I enjoyed it as much as them, meaning my ancestors.
Huh.
That's weird. I wonder how that happened. Whoa, what happened?
I'm trying to think how to put this. It's very much at cross purposes. I'm trying to make this business-like, but it really is just... The bond with Cherry last time was, is there a disconnect with how Cherry feels about her cause? And I got the answer to that, which is there is definitely sort of some internal conflict she has with herself. She had...
Yeah.
But this also just feels kind of unsalvageable. Like, that's a question that can't be answered, because she literally can't be different.
No, I do think there's potential there to be explored.
Oh yeah, there's potential there to be explored, but this is a crass way of putting it, but, it's like getting a junkie to go cold turkey from her description of, he's trying to make her give up the life, but, it's how do I get her to agree to sell stories and cut me into the deal,
Yeah.
Is the ultimate angle. And the angle he was trying to play was, oh, she's unhappy, so hey, if you sell your stories, you don't have to keep traveling like this, da da da. But that's not happening. Clearly, she will always be on the road. She has to be that way.
It's a weird thing with Cherry's, with her character dilemmas and stuff like that, because there is a degree of angst about, whether or
That
not I enjoy this
I
life, it
think
was
she is it like she knows that she can't be any which way. She knows she can't
Well-
be any which way. Like her mentality is just she is forced to have to live this way or be completely unhappy. But
there's
she
a
also
degree
knows
of that, but I do think she legitimately does really enjoy her life.
Yeah,
Like,
but is
she
there like
would
is there
choose this, but I think there's just a degree of
fact-
anxiety about that. She didn't choose this. This was just what she.
that's pretty much it. She knows she can't be any different, so there will always be that element of doubt of like, but do I?
But so it's also this weird situation of, okay, the story is, worried, oh, there's an anxiety about I didn't have a choice in what life I would do. But ultimately, but this is the life she would have chosen, It's almost a self-defeating thing there. But then there's the opposite of, like, a lot of her stress, a lot of her anxiety comes from this feeling of, like, living up to this family legacy and, like, am I a failure? Have I, let down the legacy? Did I kill our family line? Am I not doing this as good as previous ones and things like that? And on a meta level, like, I sort of know to at least some extent, like, at least Kaoru, I very firmly believe, is going to inherit the thing. I don't think she was the end of the line. But she doesn't know that. And either way, something I intentionally set it up as, just with, Kaoru's age and everything, is we won't find a definitive answer to that in this party. And that was partially intentional because I, on a meta level, know the answer. But so I don't want this to be like we find out if Cherry is the end of the line or not. I want to have some sort of closure or Cherry to grapple with that.
Wait, you know the answer?
Right, yeah, that was something I talked about this ages ago. That my intention, at least, was that
I
Kaoru
thought
is.
it was up to me.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I guess you can always overrule me, but I think Kaoru is inheriting the gift. Now, granted, the whole Kaoru being, I don't think Kaoru's going to get pregnant unless, I don't know what kind of magic is out there, I guess, but that would be. So Kaoru might still be the last in the line, and then it's just kicking the can down the road, I guess. But
so the curse may or may not involve Empreg.
may or may not. But point being, I don't like that's something that, regardless, just with the timing of things, unless this party lasts for like over a year and leaves Hemlock entirely,
Yeah.
we're not finding out the answer to that in character. That has to be something that Cherry, resolves emotionally, regardless of what happens in the future. Yeah. But so my point being, it's just they're both kind of weird things to try and resolve.
Yeah, I don't know how to phrase. I'm trying to sum up a lot of this bond with, because I literally did get the answer to the bond, like, is there a disconnect? And Lydian sensed and got the thing of, yeah, there is a disconnect. But also, it's like, how does this move him towards his actual goal of opening up a new means of profit? How do I work with this? She's the granddaughter of the one who was like in the. Oh, was also.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was her grandmother.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, granted, her mom was also in the party, but her mom was not one of the like main characters of that party.
Yeah.
That's something I really thought we were going to talk about this section, but we didn't. But so that is a conversation to have in mind for another time.
Yeah.
Just we talked about it a bit previously. Cherry's relationship with being a character in the stories and things like that, and that's just something her mom Haru was much better at. That Cherry is Haru was a master at like influencing and guiding stories without being a character in them, if that makes sense. Like she was very good at being on the edges and, sides and easily written out while really pulling the levers and pushing things and, driving stories while staying out of them herself. She's a lot better at that than Cherry is.
Mm.
And one of the many things she's, criticized or just feels like Cherry could be doing a bit better at. Ooh! Oh no, I have a good one for this.
Okay.
Alright, I've got one written down for Cherry. Took me ages to write this and I'm still not happy with it, but I think that's the best I can do with trying to keep it breezy-ish. I also got a Nico, obviously I fucking advanced that. Nico's still unreliable, but he's opening up to the idea that he can't go as far as he wants without financial back. Alright.
Yep.
Actually, wait. Can I have potentially 3? Alright, I've updated all 3 bonds. One of these definitely needs a bit more work, but I think so. Cherry's one. Because Cherry's is a bit fucking wordy. Jesus, I gotta cut that down. I gotta figure out.
I was gonna say I have a really wordy one with Lydian.
Alright, so it used to be Cherry's sole motivation seems to be story. She seems a bit weary about her ancestors, but is dedicated to their cause. Is there a disconnect there? Alright, so now it's become Cherry fears being the end of a line she seems hesitant to say she's happy to be a part of. I could play this angle. If she fears being the end of the line, we could at least make sure it's not the end of her stories. People would pay good money to read them. A grand finale for a great family line is a hell of a sell.
Nice.
I was gonna make... the thing I was originally gonna go with was, like, play the angle of, like, oh, but what about Kaoru if he isn't the thing of the line? But, yeah, that's ages off. And also, it just feels even that feels a bit, I don't want to play a character who's that fucking mean, even if it is Lydian, to go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this character's kid against to fucking pressure her into fucking selling books. That feels a bit too dark for me. Alright, my 2 Nico ones that I've updated. Nico almost did kill me, and someone else nearby. He needs to be more careful. Don't they teach young folk lab safety in Emberwell no more, or to care for their property? So, thanks to the whole shocking Dwight with the box and that kind of thing, is like, Nico's volatile properties are still very much a concern, but a gun is only risky for those who don't know how to aim. If I can't put a safety on Nico, I'll just figure out where to point him.
Damn. Nice.
I reread my bond and I realized my bond has like I have no reason to rewrite it because it's literally at where Nico is, which is basically just I guess a bit of selling out doesn't hurt as long as it doesn't impede my science.
And that's very appropriate because my other Bond
Yeah.
review updated, which was I got Nico to make a market. Oh, I didn't copy the old one. Did I delete the old? Oh, I'm gonna have to do this backwards because the old one fucking didn't copy. So the new one is on top, the old one's on the bottom. So old one. Nico is still unreliable, but he's opening up to the idea that he can't go as far as he wants without financial backing and going into the market. But I still need to polish him up first. We kind of skipped the polishing up, and I got Nico to make a marketable product by accident. I just need to stoke these fires and show him the opportunity that a cash stream can bring to his precious science.
Nice.
We're going to destroy Nico's soul, and he's not even going to realize it's happening. And I've hit level
Alright,
4.
So take an XP for all those. Yep. Any bonds from Nico?
No, like I said, I didn't really interact with Cherry, and like I said, the bond with the fucking Lydian is like perfect as it is, perfect for what it is right now.
Alright, cool. And Cherry, your bond?
I have all my bonds updated.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh.
Yeah, I had a big bond session. So, we'll do Nico's first. First one, Nico's inventions and curiosity are already producing remarkable events. But a man was frozen solid and Lydian almost froze to death. I'll get good stories, but next to Nico is a dangerous place to be. Now we have Nico's inventions did help us out of a tricky spot with those fire ants. With a little more self-control and experience in dangerous situations, they may become more of an asset than a danger yet. See?
Very
Nico's
cool.
showing it. And then we have another one. Nico is interested in making an impact on the world. Their invention's spreading, and seems to be coming around on the idea of Lydian and I really selling people on those inventions. We may be able to help Nico yet. So, Nico's shock box is a great idea, though Nico is skeptical on how to sell it. Hopefully their mind will be changed when we see it taking off and being used. So those are my two Nico ones.
Okie
He
dokie.
just wants Nico to be the best best scientist they can be.
Yeah,
No, we want you to be a
Cherry
prophet.
has a-
Well, Cherry is, thing. Lydian just wants you to be profitable.
Yeah, it's the
Alright.
best scientist Nico can be.
From his perspective.
Ooh, so let's go with actually. So my two with Lydian. Then speaking of profitable, the one I had was Lydian has quickly seemed to find use for me for his business deals. I'm glad to be useful, like my ancestors before me. I just wish I enjoyed it as much as in one version I had as much as my ancestors, in one version as much as Nico seems to. Regardless, this is my new one. Lydian seems interested in my relationship with my ancestors. I know he wants to make money off their legacy. Is that what they would prefer if I've already ended our line? Or if I've really ended our line? So,
Alright.
and then I have a really fucking long one here. So my old one. In Morricone Springs, I believe I have gotten my first great legend from my travels with Lydian. Does he appreciate what we've done? This is a long one, and not a particular... I don't know, this one's like weirdly a bit dark, I feel like. Or a bit cynical, I don't know, but I have a very promising story lead in Marion, but Lydian is apprehensive about getting involved in it. It will be harder to sell than the Morricone intrigue, but I'll find some way to make this sound profitable to him. Greed is one of the best ways to overcome cowardice, as powerful as lust.
Nice.
Basically just have to make him see dollar signs.
I mean, you tried that, and Lydian was like, he saw right into.
Oh, that was just a little,
Yeah,
This is more like using outright deceit
yeah.
to try and make it seem.
The thing is, what's funny about it is Lydian. I think if he kind of saw through and saw into your mind, I think his first response would just be bafflement. Is just like, I realize we're traveling together, but why do you even want me involved? What does the fat elven businessman add to this slavery story?
You might not. That's it. It will be best for Lydian if he's not. But you never. He has, resources and whatnot. They may come in handy.
I mean, I guess also
If
from
she has
Cherry's,
use
I guess
for-
also
it's
from
just-
Cherry's perspective, if Lydian is like doesn't add much to the story, she'll just replace him with a gunslinger again.
It's just a matter of, like, if she has use for him, she'll need to justify him. She'll need to have a good reason. So, like, if she can come up with something that will make it look profitable, even if it's not, maybe give some false information or something like that. She's not above just, like, lying, as long as she is going to be able to cover her tracks.
Yeah.
Oh darn, that person who said, they'd pay you 1,000 coin to free, their friends. Looks like they burned in the fire Ah, shucks. Well, better luck next time. They were definitely a real person who I didn't make up. And those are my 4 bots.
All right, Nico,
Yeah.
did you prove the value of your inventions to others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Take an XP for that. Cherry, did you get someone to relax, calm down, and open up to you?
Sure.
Huh?
I'm not sure. I don't know if anything quite counts. I'm leaning no, but, like, I don't know, because there was the whole, like, conversation with Lydian at the fire and everything.
It's funny
That
because
was
I
more
thought
Cherry
I
opening
was
up,
wondering
but-
if that would like at any point turn to like, so Lydian, what's your story? I'm not sure if I would have. I was considering like, does Lydian open up with his? He would have done. It just never felt like the conversation flowed in that direction.
It was never quite. I thought about it, but it was never quite what. I mean, he did like tip his hand a bit though in terms of what he wants for Cherry.
Yeah.
Like, because that was a thing, charming and open. What do you wish I would do? What do you most desire? Like, those were kind of questions that Cherry did get out of Lydian. That we could have done that mechanically, but I just kind of got those organically.
Okay, so no for you on alignment.
Alright. That is your decision.
Yeah, Lydian, did you open up a new avenue for coin to go through?
Sort of. It's like I could sense, I can feel like no is the more correct answer though. But I did get. I think next session that will come through with the shock box, the electric.
Yeah, it'll come up next session. So
Yeah.
no for now.
I think today was prototyping. I think all the other ones just on the road for too long.
All right. Well, did we learn something new and important about the world?
The intrigue in Marion, the whole, something going on underground under the casinos in Marion there.
That's true. Take an XP for that. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
The fire ants.
Fire
notable?
ants. A wall of fire.
Yeah.
Wall of fire ants. Sure. Take an XP for that.
Lydian
I
almost
feel
got
more like
cooked.
Dwight overcame an enemy by getting money out of Lydian for a minute.
That's true.
And
He gets
did
an
we
XP.
loot a memorable treasure?
No.
No.
No. All right. Well,
we
take an
upgraded a
XP.
box.
We'll take an XP for playing. Well, game.
I'm level 4.
Oh, I should be level 4 too. I need to pick up that then later.